Working on gluteus maximus, it originates from the SI joint, the iliac, and the sacrum, and runs out and attaches into the posterior femur and the posterior iliotibial band. What we can do is come at the SI joint, come in and right on the sacrum and SI joint, and I'm going to press in and a little nudge around, and I can come in and press repeatedly 3 to 5 times. I can come to the femur head, go to the back of the posterior ilium, find where those glute fibers attach, come in here, and on that posterior femur, I'm going to push down into that contact point. I can also do both spots at the same time, pressing into here. Working on piriformis, I'm going to come from the sacrum. I'm going to come to the lateral border of the sacrum and go outside of that, and then I'm going to go in and under the sacrum to scoop up. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to use my thumb to scoop up under that sacrum. And again, once you find where it's most tender, nudge repeatedly. I can then follow that piriformis out to the top of the femur head. I can take my thumb and come to the top of this, and we're going to push down into this and also rotate that femur head a little bit open. I can also use my thenar, come to the back side of that femur head and push in here, creating rotation of that femur. I want to watch the heel and see it rotate when I push. Quadratus lumborum comes from the bottom of your rib cage and the transverse processes of the spine, lumbar spine, runs out into the iliac crest. So what we want to do is come in up under that rib cage first, and we're going to find tenderness there. We're going to push upwards repeatedly into that, giving nudges. On the transverse processes, I want to come outside the erector spinal muscles, and I want to scoop up under into those transverse processes way out here. And as I push into them, I want to use a little inferior to superior angle and go 1 through 4. When I get to the iliac crest, I then want to find the top of that crest. I want to push down where it's most tender and use a little superior to inferior and lateral, medial to lateral line of drive. So I'm going to come this direction and nudge into that. The spinal erectors come all the way to the sacrum. I'm going to find the sacral ala. I'm going to use my pisiform, pushing inferior into the sacral ala. I can nudge here. I can also then take my other pisiform and come through transverse processes, following them all the way up the spine, going press as I move up through the spine. Working on the latissimus muscles, attaching from the humerus, running down in from the transverse processes of T8 all the way to the sacrum and a little bit across that iliac crest. So what I can do is come into the massive fibers here and pinch and do a slow grind, grab those fibers here, do a squeeze, find where they're most tender, and do a little grind, nice and slow right here. And then I can follow the muscle fibers to the transverse processes, and I can push with a lateral to medial and superior to inferior line of drive, pushing on each of these transverse processes, finding where they're most tender, and take this all the way down to the sacrum, and then across the iliac crest, and I can also push inferior here. If I find one that's most tender, I'm going to stay on there, and I'm going to push repeatedly wherever I feel most dysfunction or tenderness.